Hey, Metal Maniacs, this is Djordje from Serbian band Centurion, and you're cranking it up on Dave Softee's Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio.
Alrighty, here we go, Metal Maniacs. Please help me welcome to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from Belgrade, Serbia, from traditional heavy metal band Centurion. You know him as guitarist of Space Eater and Quasarborn. Here he's back to talk about his self-titled release, Centurion, for his own band, Centurion. Please welcome to Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio, guitarist Đorđe Luković.
Hey, Dave.
George, thank you for reaching out to me to get on the show to talk to you. I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you for taking the time to be here. And I want to know how you're doing out there and how have you been during this COVID pandemic?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say that you're probably the first guy that's not like Serbian or Slavic that, pronounced my name perfectly from the get-go. So let's just get that out of the way. Yeah.
I had help.
So, yeah, congrats. So, well, I really wanted to reach out to you because I know that, at least 10 years or so, you've been supporting the Serbian metal scene and interviewing the bands from this region. So you were always, somewhere, in my eyesight. I always wanted to contact you and to do an interview with you. I really like the style of the interviews that you do, and I can feel the enthusiasm from the stuff that you do. So I thought it would be like a good thing to promote our album to the American fans and all the followers of the Metal Meltdown Radio via this interview. So other than that, I'm pretty much cool. This pandemic stuff pretty much affects all of us, I think, in this way or another. But, we're trying to, hang in there. I'm pretty much delighted because today Sodom released their new album, Genesis 19. I don't know if you've heard the album
yet, so now I have to check it out. Thank you for
letting
me know about that.
Yeah, I'm a huge Sodom fan, so that pretty much made my day. I also like the band Oasis, which probably a lot of metal people would be kind of surprised about, but their ex-lead singer, Liam Gallagher, also released a new song today, so I'm pretty much, bombarded with all this music that I like today. So it's a very, very good day, and it kind of takes my mind of this, bullshit that has to do with the pandemic.
I don't know anything about Oasis except for the fact that you mentioned one of the guys' names, Gallagher's. They think they're like the second coming of the Beatles, and I find that very, very funny.
Yeah.
So that's all I know about them, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than being, sort of delusional, they're actually kind of good band. If you like decent British rock and roll, if you crossbred, Beatles and Sex Pistols, you would get, the early Oasis, like the first album. So I pretty much like that stuff. So it's, along my
Well, that's
path,
very good to have an open mind to like several kinds of music. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But let's learn more about Centurion. Could you please inform the fans that are tuning in right now on who makes up the rest of your fine Serbian band?
Yeah, well, other than me, the longest standing band member is Đule. His real name is Dušan Mitrović, but we affectionately call him Đule. And he's a drummer, and he has been in the band pretty much from its inception. So I formed a band with our first singer, I think in April of 2008. And he joined us actually on my birthday on the 26th of September in 2008. So other than him and me, we also have Miloš Marjanović, who is our singer, and he has been with the band from 2012. We also have Stefan Tomić, who's the guitar player. He also plays leads and rhythm guitar as well, like me. And he has been in the band, I think, from October or November of 2015. And the latest addition to the band has been Miloš Galović. He is the bass player for Centurion. He has been in the band, I think, from early 2018, but I might have been mistaken. The thing is, as the time goes, my memory tends to kind of fade away.
I think that's natural.
The thing is, yeah, I know, but the thing is, the funny thing is that I kind of tend to remember much better the things that happened like in the first few years of the band. But the last 2 or 3 years, I'm kind of all over the place with dates and stuff like that.
You've been keeping pretty busy. I mean, here we are talking about Centurion, and I want to congratulate you on your debut offering, but you've been pretty busy, real busy with from the Space Eater years to Quasarborn. So although you had the band Centurion at the same time, you kept pretty busy with those bands. So now it's time that we recognize that you have this album out there, and we need to spread the word, let everybody know about this. It's a really good metal offering.
Yeah, thank you, man. And when we were in Space Eater, I pretty much from the get-go said that, Centurion is my number one band. That's like my baby. That's my, lifelong project. And I wanted to work with them because I like them as guys and I like the music that they come up with. But, I can't be 100% like there in terms of like songwriting, but I did a lot of arrangements, and I did of course solos, and I did a bit of songwriting. But my thing was mostly arrangements, and therefore, once we left Space Eater, the idea was to have a band that would be separate from the identity of Space Eater. We would have a band that basically became Quasarborn, in which no boundaries in terms of genres would be set. And that's when I kind of really felt that there's a lot of work to be done, on my part. So I contributed, quite a fair bit, on the first two Quasarborn albums that I've been a part of. But, as the time progressed, my role in the band started to diminish, and I said to the guys, the thing is, I can't, manage to be a leader in my band, to do all the stuff that I need to do for my band. Also I'm a psychology student, so that's quite challenging. And I, have like an on and off job, that, keeps me going throughout all of those stuff. So I said that I pretty much had to leave, but they were like, no, can you stay and just do the necessary stuff? We can even like get a guy that will replace you for the gigs. And I was like, yeah, no problem. But, during the last year of my, stint with Quasarborn, we kind of felt that it's not a band anymore, I mean, it's a band, the three of them, but I was kind of, although I really did like contribute to the arrangements for that last song that we did, which is a cover from the Serbian band Iceburn. I really did contribute to the arrangements, but other than that, I wasn't present at the rehearsals, so they kind of felt they need a full-time band member, and I also kind of felt pressured by the fact that I need to like work on all of those fronts. So we kind of figured out that the best way is to kind of separate, and that's quite painful way, but at the same time, it's good, and it's what had to be done.
It was your destiny, because basically that's what Luca was explaining to me as well. And I want to know more about this. This was self-released, correct?
Yeah, the thing is, how when we started as a band, we really kind of dreamt big. The thing is, we formed this band when I was, I think, 15, and Đorđe, our drummer, was 14, and we were really kids, and this is like a lifelong project, and we really kind of dreamt big about, signing with some big labels. And as you kind of get older, and figure out that things do not work as you thought originally they did, and you kind of realize, that with your first offering, that's maybe not as possible as you thought, it would be. But at the same time, the sad state of music business is, kind of, what affects, our ability to find like a right contract and like a right label for us. But the thing is, in the last couple of years, this whole like traditional heavy metal revival kind of goes up our valley, in terms of like we finally have the right platform, should I say, to place our music upon. And like we have a lot of people coming from South America and Germany and France and like rest of Europe and actually Japan that kind of gravitate towards this kind of genre, and also they gravitate toward our band. And yeah, the thing is, we kind of, a couple of years ago, we kind of figured out that, maybe in order to have freedom that we want to have, in terms of like making an album, 76 minutes long, which is the actual length of our album. At the same time, in order to sing in Serbian and, to have all these kind of different influences that we have with those kind of Serbian and Balkan ethnic music influences and like those kind of poppy things, as well as, some more extreme metal things. We were not sure how and like a typical metal label would react to that kind of eclectic, mixture of sounds. So we kind of figured out, the music business is in a poor place, at the same time, we are kind of difficult to box. So we kind of figured out, it's maybe, the right way to go about things is maybe to like do a self-release, so we would not be kind of swayed or limited by labels or whoever. But as I said, since we have this kind of traditional metal renaissance, should I say, we kind of actually got into the business of trying to find a label that I think can help us grow. So that's the current state of us, and like trying to find the right label. Yeah.
And so I just am really curious about not being in English. You're offering. Do you find that has limitations to what you can get out there around the world, or do you think that at one point in the future you may decide to go English to spread more popularity into the States? Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, when we originally started, our idea was to do like music, the same songs in both English and Serbian. That was the original idea, because I really like Serbian language. I think there's something really poetic about that language, especially if you know how to speak it. And at the same time, I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of bummed out with the fact, that there's very little like authentic new art, that's in Serbian language, because everybody gravitates towards English, so it could get like more attention, which is something that I totally get. That's just the way things are. But we wanted to do like that kind of bilingual thing. So one of the main reasons why the band is called Centurion, we wanted to make to get a band name that is written in the same way that it means the same thing in both Serbian and in English. So that was kind of the compromise.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
So we can be, yeah, that was our thinking. But as the time kind of went, the just the scope of the project that our album is, in terms of like a lot of different instrumentation, like choirs and orchestras, and like Serbian ethnic singing, and the fact that it's like 76 minutes long, it's quite an undertaking.
Yes, I
You
do.
know what I
Sure.
mean? Like, yeah. So like at the same time, kind of translating the lyrics to English at that time kind of seemed like something that will even prolong the process of getting the album done. So yeah, currently, just I think a month ago, we have published the album on the New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal YouTube channel. And the album garnered a lot of attention. I think in about a month, or maybe 3 weeks, we had like
Wow, that's
20,000
great.
views,
Yeah.
which is like
Sure.
really, really good. Yeah, the thing is, a lot of people kind of commented in the comment section on YouTube, and as well they reached out to us on our socials, and they said, wow, it's like pretty much, if not the only time, it's like a rare example where the fact that I don't know the language in which you're singing really doesn't bug me. It doesn't take away from the experience of listening to our music. So I kind of thought, maybe the way to go about things is not to translate maybe lyrics to English, but to try kind of for the future releases to kind of make the vocals sound even a bit more Serbian. And I'll explain what that means. Like the band Rammstein, of
Yes.
course. Yeah. So like how Till Lindemann, when he sings, even if he was singing in like Latvian language, that quality of his voice and his delivery kind of sounds German.
Yes.
Do you know
Yes.
what I mean? So yeah, the thing is, there are some characteristics, of different languages that you can kind of accentuate even more, and to make it like a whole package. So yeah, I can see us, going both ways. We can, stick to Serbian only, and kind of accentuate that even more than we did, on our first album. But there's also a possibility, if we get like, I don't know, like a good deal from a record label that says, yeah, that's all fine, that's great, do your thing in Serbia, no problem, but we only want you if you do it in English. I mean, then there's no problem, because I also really like English language. I mean, like 70% of the music I listen to
Right.
is in English. And if I made a list like of 10 bands which are my favorite, I think that at least 9 would be in English. So that's not a problem. But that's the current state
Do
of
you like the
affairs. Yeah.
band The Stone from Serbia? Because I think they're a really kick-ass band, and they're all in Serbian too. But they kick ass. So I don't see them changing. Although by now they may have changed. But as far as I know, they're all in Serbian. All their music is all the language is Serbian, and they really kick ass. They really kick ass.
Yeah.
But they call themselves a black metal band. But I don't feel it that they're a black metal band.
Yeah, but they actually evolved, quite a bit from their like first offering, which I think was released in '96. They're quite an old band. They were called Stone to Flesh at the time, I think. They kind of started with that more kind of raw black metal thing, but they, evolved in all sorts of ways, and you cannot really call them a black metal band because I really do believe that they kind of went beyond that genre. In essence, it's still, an uncompromising black metal like statement, but I think they're not black metal anymore. They're the Stone, and I think that is like one of the biggest compliments you can give to a band because they really sound like
Right.
themselves, And the Stone is actually my favorite Serbian metal band. Definitely my number one. And one of the main reasons for that is the fact that, like, the sheer brilliance of their lyrics is something that I really cannot explain to you because you really need to speak Serbian, to
Exactly.
understand Serbian.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, their number one weapon, if I can say it like that, is the fact that their lyrics are brilliant. But what I find like very interesting is the fact there's a lot of people that do not speak Serbian that are just in love with their music. So I think that, their expression and their, God, I hate this word, but for lack of a better term, energy is something that kind of transmits. And I think that's something that people can feel no matter, if they speak the language or not. So yeah, for me personally, the Stone
Yes,
kicks
I agree.
ass
Yes,
so
I
much.
had to mention them because we're talking about the Serbian language
Yeah, yeah,
in the music, and they're definitely one of those bands that really keep to themselves, they're true to themselves, and they're keeping to the Serbian. So I
exactly.
understand what you're saying. I'm just using that as a reference. But getting back to Centurion, I want to know how the writing process was, how the music all came together, as far as who was responsible for the lyrics and the melodies. And this was all done, of course, before COVID, I imagine. So if you could you tell
Yeah.
us how the music comes together for Centurion?
Okay, just let me take a sip of my non-alcoholic beer because this is a
Okay.
long answer. Take a listen to
Yes.
this, by the way. It's probably one of the best sounds you can hear. Do you agree?
Well, I don't drink beer. I have a big bottle of alkaline water because it makes me feel good.
No, since we're talking about like my songwriting style and generally, the way we wrote songs for the first album, the thing with us is I'm a huge fan. Like Iron Maiden is my number one favorite band. I also like Pink Floyd, and I kind of and also like bands like Genesis and like Dream
Me
Theater,
too.
and what all of those, yeah, the thing is what all of those bands kind of have in common is the fact that they have some great storytelling abilities, within their music. I never kind of, saw music as like a collection of riffs, although I like bands like Exodus that it's like, like a gallery of riffs, it's just a riff after riff after riff. And every one of those riffs is like, bone crushing. And I really do like that stuff. But when it comes to our own songwriting, I tend to kind of write riffs, melodies, harmonies, as well as the other guys, and they all kind of lay around, in a scattered way. They're like all over the place. And then I don't know, I would be like in a bus, going somewhere and kind of thinking, looking out the window and like thinking about different stuff, and then like a lyrical topic would come up, and I would be like, that's kind of interesting. I would like to write lyrics about that particular topic. And then kind of almost subconsciously, a lot of the riffs that I kind of feel that they have, a certain atmosphere that would suit that lyrical topic, I would kind of just, pull them in, and kind of work around it. In the early days, the thing was, we would come up with the lyrical topic, and we would like collect the riffs that are, in the same vein, in the same kind of atmosphere, and in the same tempo. But as we kind of progressed as songwriters, the tempo was not an issue. There's a song called Janjičar, or in English, if you want, Janissary, which has, I think, over 30 tempo changes within a song. So, like, the main hallmark of our like songwriting process is the fact, that we kind of come up with the lyrical topic and then kind of assemble the riffs around that, and kind of simultaneously come up with the vocal melodies, and then at the end we would write the lyrics. So it's all, I mean, it's another like a buzzword that everybody like mentions, and I kind of hate it, but it really is organic. It kind of stems from the same sort of like cloth, if you same piece of cloth, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So like that's like the main characteristic of our songwriting style. So yeah, it was all written before COVID, of course. The album was being recorded between 2015 and 2018. It took us 3 years to record the album. And yeah. So it was quite a daunting task for us and for Luka Matković, who is the producer of the record. And yeah, I'd like to think that pretty much, without sounding like, too kind of poetic or whatever, but I really do think that this album, since it's our first album, kind of took us our whole lives, up until that point to write, because actually some of the song ideas that you hear on the album, I've wrote when I was, I think, 9 or 10 years old. I was in my second grade of the elementary school, and there's actually, I think, 2 or 3 parts that are from that era, and from that point up until 2014 was the period in which we wrote the songs and completed them and like arranged them and went into the studio prepared in that sense.
So,
Yeah.
So if I'm to understand, this was mixed, mastered, and recorded over in the Citadella Studios, which is Lucas. But
Yeah.
I figured it would,
Exactly.
but I wasn't sure. So that's pretty cool. So you were
Yeah.
able to get this done with him while you were still with Quasarborn.
Yeah. Well, actually, the thing is, we started to record the first uh, Centurion album, and then in the middle of recording of the first Centurion album, we did the first
Can't
Quasarborn
believe it.
album, and it got released, but we haven't finished the Centurion album. So it was like Centurion, Quasarborn 1, then the rest of the Centurion, and then Quasarborn 2.
Priorities. They call
So
that priorities.
yeah. So I think that actually we even maybe, I'm not sure, but I think we actually started to record the second Quasarborn album while the Centurion album was in its like finishing stages. So maybe even
I
that.
believe
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Hopefully, you won't have
Yeah.
a struggle for your sophomore release. Whenever that is ready to be released, hopefully you'll have enough material, which it sounds like you probably will, and then you don't have to take
Yeah.
forever, like 5 years, to get that out. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it always kind of takes long with us because I'm kind of really meticulous in a way that I want the material to be really kind of, you know, I don't want to sound, pretentious, to say like special, but, special to us, if you see what I mean. I don't like regard it to be, any more special than a lot of things that you hear in music, but, when you are in the process of songwriting, you kind of know what you're trying to like convey, what you're trying to say, basically. So you kind of know when it's ready, And the thing is, we had 6 years up until this point, from the times in which the last things for the first album were written up until this point. We have 6 years of like new songwriting stuff. We have like a lot of new ideas. If we kind of if we ought to sit down like and finish all the songs that we have started, I think we would have like material for at least 3 albums or something like that. So like there's no shortage of new material. It's just the matter of kind of sitting down and finishing it off, and then to record it. But the thing is, I'm kind of very proud of the way that we kind of handled all these kind of changes in our itinerary, that came up due to this pandemic. We planned on like being, heavily, involved in shows and stuff like that in order to promote the album, but all of that kind of got canceled. I think that at least 8 shows or so have been canceled due to the pandemic situation. But we kind of, didn't dwell in despair. We kind of said, yeah, okay, no problem. So if that's the case, we'll kind of focus on, writing the material for the next release, which we did. And the other thing was, to give our best to promote the album, and which we also kind of did really well. In the last couple of months, we have gathered quite a nice following in Japan, Europe, South America, and stuff like that. So I think we really kind of, did ourselves a favor, over the last 6 months in both terms of like promotion and especially in terms of songwriting. So I think that, with all the things that we've learned, from the experience of writing and recording the first album, I think that we are definitely going to like spend much less time in the studio, but at the same time, I think that we can also, come up with an album that's like even longer than the first one. The thing is, so I think that we'll kind of minimize the time, but maximize the output. So I think that's the scenario for the second album.
It's glad to hear that you're getting a lot of responses and good support over the last 6 months, and I hope that we could add to that. And I want to talk about merch in a bit, but first I want to talk more about your debut offering. I want to learn more about the CD art and the band logo. If you could explain to us or tell us who created this, we would love to know about that.
The album artwork was done by the same guy that did the artwork for our demo EP, Virtualno Ognjište. His name is Bogdan Amidžić. He's a very, very talented artist, as you can probably see. He lived, once we met, and once we discussed, the option of him doing the artwork for our first EP, he was living in Novi Sad, which is another town in Serbia. But in the meantime, when I got around to call him, like to do the album artwork, I was like, hey man, could you maybe come to Belgrade, or should I come to Novi Sad so we can like, talk about this? And he was like, no, I'm actually in Belgrade right now. So I was like, oh, are you visiting, or are you living here? He was like, yeah, no, I'm actually living here. And I was like, okay, cool. Where are you living? And he said, so and so street, which is actually the street that's like a street away from mine.
Wow.
So
how convenient.
Imagine a guy that lives in a yeah. So it was unbelievable. So we kind of got together, and I pretty much had the concept for the artwork. I wanted to have kind of time lapse landscape of Belgrade. From the like Roman and Ottoman times up until to some. To the nowadays Belgrade, and even into some kind of dystopian future. So what you see on our debut album cover is actually Belgrade, like through the ages, since the Roman and Ottoman times up until now, and even, further into the future. So that was my idea. And over the course of like 2 or 3 meetings, we kind of fleshed it out, and kind of made that idea, a bit more tangible, with a lot more details. And the rest of the job was pretty much up to him. I mean, pretty much it was all up to him. He was sitting away and doing all the things he could possibly do to make it as special as it really turned out to be. So I'm really, really pleased with the cover artwork. It's exactly what I wanted us to have. I wanted it to look like a traditional heavy metal album, but with a slight touch of like, our own roots and stuff like that. I think that's like really important. It kind of sets the tone for the music that you're going to hear once you put the CD or, I hope, vinyl at
That's
some
nice.
point.
That's
Uh,
special. That's better.
yeah, yeah, in your in your system. So yeah, that's as far as the pardon me, as far as the artwork goes. But the logo was kind of the same thing. I was once we kind of agreed upon the name, I really thought that a cool thing would be to have like that, I don't know if you say it, a crest, the crest that you have on the helmet of a
Right.
Centurion.
But yeah,
Is the
yes, yes,
crest right
exactly.
word?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I wanted to have that over C, the beginning C of the Centurion name, and to have it also on the end, so we can have like some kind of symmetric thing going on. So our singer at the time, our first singer, Strahinja Stojanović, took the idea of mine and fleshed it out and came up with the rest of the letters in our name. And there's actually a funny story. I met the guys from Metallica in 2012. I met the
Oh,
whole band, and I gave them T-shirts and CDs of Centurion, and James Hetfield took the T-shirt that I gave him, and he was like, "Whoa, dude, this is probably like the best logo I've seen in a while." So that was
that's nice. Yeah,
unbelievable.
nice to hear that from him.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So yeah, that's the story
I appreciate
of
you
the
sharing
logo.
that with us. That's really special. Have you been able to seek out any labels or distributors that are willing to work with you to fill your needs, or is that something that is an ongoing process for you?
Well, both actually. In the last 6 months, we've like established like a very good working relationship with a number of distributors in Japan. We also sold a lot of CDs throughout Europe, America, and South America. But we're generally looking forward to kind of work with a lot more distributors because we really want to spread the word around the world. So if there's any like willing distributors that are listening to this, they can contact us via the Facebook or Instagram or our email, which I'm sure we're going to mention a bit later. So and at the same time, as far as labels go, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to getting a deal. um, and we actually contacted a few labels that we think are suitable, and we're currently kind of trying to figure out what's the best thing for us, for our material, and for our
I wish
situation.
you the best with that. I know you don't want to make any
Thank you,
compromises.
man.
You want to do it the way you're doing it, but I also know that you're
Yeah,
open-minded, that you probably bend a little bit to do the right thing for yourself and the band. So I wish you the best with that. And of
thanks a lot,
course,
man. Yeah, the thing is, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not interested in doing music if it's not done the right way. And if it metal should be done from the heart. That maybe sounds like a cliche, but I really do believe that. And if you're not honest in metal, I think it really kind of shows. You can easily tell when a band is trying to kind of you know uh I'm pretty sure that there are some bands out there that are pretty aware of the demographics of their audience. So they're like, okay, so like males from 16 years old up until, I don't know, 23, they're angry, they're pissed off at the system, so and so on and so on. You
yes,
see what I
yes.
mean? I think that there's a lot of like calculation out there, and I think it's really kind of easy to spot if you're at least a little bit aware. And we're not really interested in making compromises that are ought to like kind of endanger our expression and our artistic integrity. But I think there's a certain small percentage of like compromises that you can make that do not kind of stain your own kind of integrity and outlook on the music you should be making. So I think there is a room for that, but it's not like you know without its own boundaries.
I do
You see what I mean?
totally understand you, and
Yeah.
let's help the fans, because the fans, they love to talk about, they love to hear about merch, and they want to know how they could
Yeah.
support Centurion. So let's give the best links we can that we can educate the fans on how they can get merch from Centurion. I'm going to give your Facebook first, facebook.com/Centurion official, and your Bandcamp as well, Centurion Serbia .bandcamp.com/releases. And you were talking about an email. You have an email you'd like to give out them? You want to give that now or you want to give that later?
Yeah, of course. So it's Centurion, lowercase, official at yahoo.com.
Okay, great. Now, where would you say would be the best place for a fan to get a copy, either a digital copy or a physical copy of this Centurion release? And beyond that, what other merch does Centurion have available for the fans out there?
Yeah, well, the thing is, if you want a digital release, the Bandcamp is a go-to place. But, if you want a physical copy of the CD, you can contact us, via Facebook or Instagram or email, whatever. The CD of our debut album is €8. And that is, other than a couple of girly T-shirts that we have, available currently, that's all we have in terms of like merch. But in a couple of weeks' time, I think 2 weeks, maybe even less, we will have like a very kind of lush and like limited edition deluxe T-shirts available. Those Raglan 3/4 long sleeves T-shirts.
Okay, cool. Well, it's good to know you have that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have that available in like a couple of weeks' time. So that is going to be in a very short period of time
Well,
available.
thank you for
So
that
yeah.
news, Georgia. And I would imagine as we've been talking about this COVID, and of course, there hasn't been any live shows out there, that it's been pretty hard for you not to be able to do that. But hopefully, from the news you hear about these vaccines, and hopefully this is going to be something that we're going to be able to say, okay, we're going back to our normal lives. So I don't know how it's going for you there in Serbia, but I know it was pretty bad there. It was bad in Europe. It was bad here in America when this all happened, let's say last March, and then April, May was really horrible. And then it settled down a little bit, but now it's on the rise again. But I don't know how you're
Yeah.
doing over there in Serbia, and if you have any kind of plans whatsoever in the distant future about doing any shows, or if you have any plans coming up that we could tell the fans about.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, we were planning twice actually up until this point, like a big promotional concert in Belgrade, for our debut album, but we were not able to do it, both times due to the pandemic situation. And to be quite honest with you, the things are so uncertain at this point that we do not kind of even think about that stuff. We're definitely thinking about entertaining our fans in like different ways, but in terms of like live shows, I'm not really sure. Once the this whole situation kind of you know gets back to normal, we're definitely looking forward to playing. We really miss that, as I'm sure probably anybody in their right minds would. But the thing is, currently, I think it's like it really is too early to talk about it because this shit is like on the rise again. And yeah, so we're pretty much focused on like getting the material done and promoting the band and doing merch and
I
stuff
totally
like that.
understand that. Now, I was looking on your YouTube
Yeah.
page for Centurion YouTube channel of Centurion, and I was
Yeah.
looking for some official videos. I noticed that some of the artwork, like resembling your CD, was on some, I would say, music or MP3 videos, I would call it. Not really a music video. I saw a bunch of that on YouTube, but I didn't notice any official music or lyrical videos. Are they out there, or does Centurion plan on making any official videos?
Yeah, we actually have like a lyric video. It's half lyric video, half like us playing. It's in black and white. It's for the song Pomračenje uma. The spelling for that would be Pomracenge, and then the other word is UMA. So Pomračenje uma. There is a video for that song, and that's the only video we've done so far. We kind of have a couple of videos, actually video ideas, in the tank, kind of waiting to be done. But we really kind of got um, this whole pandemic situation is really an obstacle. It's kind of hard to fulfill certain plans that we have. But yeah, we are definitely looking forward to kind of do some more stuff regarding our video
We hope so.
presentation.
We
Yeah.
hope so. And Georgia, will you consider yourself a gearhead? Meaning, Would you like to talk about your guitars?
Yeah, of course. I really love guitars. I'm like, I think that there's nothing better than to kind of really fall in love with an instrument. And I, you know, tend to, even if I don't like the instrument, at like first feel, if I kind of end up writing something on an instrument that I really like, which usually happens, I really do fall in love with every guitar that I've written something on. So I really do love guitars, but the thing is, other than guitars, I'm I'm really not a gearhead. If you compare me to like other musicians in general, but especially the metalheads. I pretty much see amps and stuff like that, as a tool to kind of get my sound across, and they usually rely on other people to kind of deal with those like fine tunings of my sound. I kind of dial up what I need to. I have a Marshall amp, and I'm satisfied with it. And those kind of fine-tuned details are something that I leave to the producer or the live sound guy or whatever. But my preferred X of choice is a Stratocaster, and I have actually two Stratocasters. My number one is a Strat that a luthier from Belgrade did for me. I think it's now, I think 12 years ago. Yeah, yeah. Actually, when the band was pretty much formed. And it's a handmade Strat. I'm a huge Richie Moore fan, and I'm a huge Jimi Hendrix fan, and a huge Yngwie Malmsteen fan. So I really do gravitate towards, the big-headed 70s or late 60s styled headstocks, that CBS did with the Stratocaster model. The thing is, that Strat was done for me by that luthier, and we kind of went for the kind of Richie Blackmore, Andreas Kisser, Yngwie Malmsteen look, but we wanted to make it kind of able to to make that guitar sing in those like brutal kind of metal sounds, more akin to, I don't know, Exodus or Sodom or Metallica and stuff like that. So it's kind of an interesting guitar because it kind of looks like a Strat, but it sounds, I don't know, like a Dean or something like that. So that's my number one. And my number two Strat is a Fender Strat from the 70s. That's a guitar that I got in my elementary school. That's the oldest guitar I have. I mean, the guitar that's been longest in my possession. And I usually use it like for clean sounds and for lead playing. And I also have an acoustic guitar, which is an Ibanez. I don't know which model it is, but something 1234 G45. I really, I can't remember the names of their models. I also have Harley Benton 12-string acoustic guitar, which is probably the best investment of my life because I only paid for it 100 euros, and it's a wonderful piece. And I also have Harley Benton 5-string bass, which I use for recording demos and kind of sketching out the songs for the rest of the guys, and that's pretty much it. I also have a ukulele, which you can
Nice.
hear, which you can hear on our debut album, actually, on a song called Asistolia. At the end of that song, there's like a ukulele passage, and I also played that ukulele on a couple of Quasarborn tunes, Crash Course in Life, Transcendence, and I think Identity Catharsis, but I'm not sure. So yeah, I actually recorded that ukulele
That's
numerous
very
times. Yeah.
interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us. You got nice toys. You got nice
Yeah,
toys
no
over
problem.
there. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what do you do when you're not doing Centurion? Do you have like a regular job besides the band, or does Centurion take your total time?
No, no, no. Well, definitely not. I mean, we're not, that big, so that we can all quit our jobs and just focus on the band. Maybe one day, but at this point in time, no. But I'm a psychology student, and that's my main thing. And other than my studies and Centurion, I freed up my time, by staying faithful only to my own band Centurion, so I can work online as a freelancer, in the field of music and also in the field of psychology. And actually, I'm writing scripts for a YouTube channel which deals with philosophy. So that's pretty much what I do to kind of sustain me, through all of those music
Interesting.
ventures.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And what can we tell the
Yeah, no
listeners
problem.
out there what they can expect next from Centurion? Any ideas we can tell them about the future of the band?
Yeah, well, the thing is, we are really kind of deep into writing the new material. That's definitely the main thing. Centurion was always first and foremost about the music. That was always like our number one focus. Other than that, I don't know. We're kind of figuring out a way, to kind of record all the stuff that we have, which we have in super abundance. I must say. And yeah, we're actually kind of finishing off the material, but that shit has to be recorded first, so that won't be happening anytime soon. But other than that, yeah, we're going to try and figure out a way to entertain you guys, with, I don't know, maybe some kind of live stream, which is what kind of bands do
Exactly.
nowadays. We're going to put out some merch that there would be one t-shirt design until the end of this year, and there will be another t-shirt design at the beginning of the next year, because we're marking the 10-year anniversary from the release of our demo EP Virtualno Ognjište, which kind of gained quite a cult following, especially in Serbia and the Balkan region. So yeah, so like songwriting, merch, and promotion and other ways, to kind of entertain the people. That is what we'll be, focusing on in the next couple of months. Yeah.
Excellent. And uh, Georgie, would you like to say anything to the old, the new, and the upcoming Centurion fans that are tuning in right now?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, to the old fans and to the current fans, I don't know. Actually, to all the people that are listening, I'm not really into like those kind of big shout outs, that say all the obvious things. But due to this whole situation, I must say that I don't know. I know from from my own experience, I sometimes forget the measures that you should take to protect yourself and other people. And for example, I forget a mask that I'm about to enter like a store, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot a mask. So I kind of run back to my flat to get a mask. So I don't know. The thing is, these are unprecedented times. So therefore, I don't know. Try to keep safe and healthy, and I really do hope that we will get out of this together, stronger and all that good stuff. So I don't know. That's the thing that kind of, that's the sentiment that I'm kind of proceeding from. And as far as the new guys go that maybe got turned on to our band from this interview, I don't know. The thing with Centurion is we kind of we've kind of noticed there's a certain blind spot, if you will, or like a void um in the today's musical landscape, because I see there's a lot of music that's so obvious and so formulaic and like mainstream, if you will, that kind of insults your intelligence. There's a lot of music that's like really carefully planned and kind of geared towards the biggest amount of people it can possibly get to, and that music tends to be soulless and without any real substance. And as a lot of people know, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So there's a lot of music on the other side that's so kind of avant-garde that it's kind of difficult to kind of relate to, because it really kind of takes pride in being as different as possible from the mainstream stuff. So I think that Centurion is trying to kind of write the music that is into the bands that we kind of grew up with, all of those bands that were at the same time accessible, energetic, and avant-garde at the same time. Led Zeppelin is energetic, it is accessible, but it's also avant-garde. That also kind of goes, the same goes for Pink Floyd and for Metallica and for Genesis, and I don't know, for Iron Maiden, for example, which is our number one favorite band. So we kind of try to fill that void, of music that does not really hurt your ears, in because it's too avant-garde or extreme, but at the same time it does not insult your intelligence because it's kind of too much, formulaic and stuff like that. So I think that kind of Centurion fills out that void that I at least personally feel that there is out there.
I
Yeah.
feel for you. I hear what you're saying, and very well said. Thank you for sharing those words with us. And
Thank you for the opportunity to
yeah,
say
well, of
that.
course. And
Yeah.
I'm really happy that you reached out to me for this interview, Djordje. I think we really did a great job here. I feel like I've been talking to a long
Yeah.
lost friend this whole time. I mean, just hearing you talk, I don't want to interrupt you because I'm loving everything that you're saying. And you gave us a really
Thank you,
great
man.
interview. And I think we pretty much covered all that we can. But that being said, if there's something else that you'd like to bring out there to the fans that we have yet to discuss, please do so.
Yeah, well, not really. I'm really proud. I think that we had like a really kind of candid and open discussion, and the same here. Same here. I also feel that we've kind of reconnected for after a long time of not hearing ourselves. So not really. I really wish that people are staying safe. Enjoying the music, and I really do hope that as fast as possible we can reconnect and do shows and do some more music. And I do believe that that's what we're all kind of striving for, at least in the metal
Yeah,
community.
I wish you the best with your future music, and uh, personally, I would love to hear it in with English so I'd understand it a little bit better. But understand if it
Yeah.
doesn't happen that way, it doesn't. But I'm just giving you my being
Yeah.
that I speak English. That's where I'm coming from. But I wish you the best
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
your future recordings, and I'm sure working with Citadella Studios is going to be great with you again. And I want to wish you and
Yeah.
all in Centurion, a very happy holiday season, the happy New Year, and just, most of all, like you said, stay healthy out there. Do wear the mask and social distance, and hopefully, before we know it,
Yeah.
this thing is all over with, this COVID, and we can go back to our normal lives, and we can hear about your future shows. And when this time does come, please hit me up. We can help spread the word about everything going on, whether it's a new video, whether
Of
it's
course, man.
a new song, whether it's a show or a tour or anything like this. Just keep in touch, and we'll go and spread the word. Because that's what we do. That's what it's all about.
Thank you so much, man. It was a real pleasure talking with you. As I said before, I really like the enthusiasm. I think you're a great host. I really feel that you give people a chance to kind of talk what they want to talk about. And I hope that the people out there will get something from this. I hope that they will enjoy the interview and discover
I
Centurion.
hope. Thanks again for this. It really was very. It meant a lot to me because of the circle of Serbia bands that I've followed through the years, and it was just the
Yeah.
natural thing to do right now to talk with you about Centurion. So I'm glad that we did, and let's
Yeah.
go crank up some more Centurion, and let's hear from the fans what they think about your band. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Thank you so much again.